Good Thursday evening, everyone. Happy Friday Eve. I'm Fox 19 Now First Alert Meteorologist Brad Maushart with the streaming show. And not a ton to talk about, but I'll fill the time. You know I do. Hopefully you've been enjoying some of the sunshine we've been seeing outside. I don't want to waste time talking. Let me get over this real quick. I just want to point this out real quick. 7:18 is the sunset. That's going down in a couple minutes. But check out this sunset over in Newport. We were watching this yesterday. Very similar kind of sunset out there this evening. Got a boat going around in circles out there. I don't know what's going on, but it's a really gorgeous sunset happening out there this evening along the Ohio River. And we have some high thick clouds out there that filtered our sunshine today. It's going to make it a little difficult to see the International Space Station. There is a viewing opportunity coming up here in less than an hour, I'll tell you about, but it's going to be a little lower on the horizon, well, a lot lower on the horizon than the last one was. And with all those clouds up there, it's going to be a little tough to pick out. But I'll show you where you could look to see the International Space Station buzzing by outside tonight. Gorgeous sunset, and we'll come back to that in a second, too. Temperature right now, 76 degrees. If you want to get out and about and enjoy a nice evening out there. Now, our drought, the new drought monitor is in. There are some improvements here with this from last week, right? Because we had some rain, feels like it was about 2 weeks ago. We had some rain on a Tuesday that didn't get factored into the last drought monitor. That is finally caught up, and now you could see where we had some of that heavier rainfall through northern Kentucky and our southeasternmost communities. We have gotten a little bit of relief with this. Now just abnormally dry in the bright shade of yellow, and that light brown shade, the tan shade here, including downtown, still moderate drought-like conditions. So we've seen some improvement, but it's not, unfortunately, we're still dealing with the drought-like conditions, and unfortunately, we still only have one opportunity this entire 10-day forecast to see some rainfall, and that arrives Monday night, Tuesday, and early Wednesday of this coming week. So we need some help there because 3, your weather number of the day today, 3 of the last 4 months have both featured below normal temperatures and below normal precip and above normal temperatures. Again, that is the recipe for drought. You start seeing those very warm temperatures, very little rainfall, drought sets in real quick. And I have them all written down. I'll just let you know that out of the last 4, going back to June, we saw below normal precipitation in June, August, and September. We saw above normal precipitation in July, but still 3 out of the last 4 below in the rain department. When it comes to temperatures, we saw above normal temperatures in June, July, and September, but then we had just very slightly below normal temperatures for the month of August. But either way, 3 out of the last 4, recipe for drought out there, and hopefully we get some relief soon. Maybe we'll set that up as we work our way back towards mid-October. Here is where you can spot the station tonight. Now, again, I have some concerns with this on how visible it's going to be. The first of which is how much cloud cover we still have out there, because this is going to be kind of low on the horizon as we were looking at that camera before, and that's where a lot of that high, thin cloud cover is still hanging out down there. Nevertheless, you're going to look off to the west. This is going to be a 5-minute pass, so where the sun is going down now, 5 minutes across the sky over to the south, only about 2 fists high. So if you hold your hand straight out, right, and make a fist, and you stick it up kind of long ways, right, knuckles, facing due straight out, and then you stack another fist on top, and just make sure the bottom of your fist is where you're looking, and you stick it right on the horizon like you're sitting a cup of coffee on the horizon, right? Stick the other one on top, that's 20 degrees. Each fist is going to be 10 degrees. So, it's going to be below 2 fists high. So if you are looking out and you have 2 fists out and you see trees, that you're not going to be able to see this. So, unfortunately, it's a lower pass. Just 18 degrees high in the sky. That's just kind of the cheat code on how high it's going to be, right? We also have the high thin cloud. So those 2 things going to make it a little harder to see outside. But nonetheless, if you do have, a clearer view off to the west, you might be able to see this out there this evening. Either way, nice day. Hopefully you got to get out there and enjoy it. I like this in particular because you can see the reflection in the river there pretty clear until the winds picked up a bit, so it was a really nice day. Then we just had a sea of high, thin clouds drifting through, filtering some of that sunshine outside. Off on the other side of the river there, if you were looking at it, you could see some of the river boats getting set up for the Ohio River, well, not the Ohio River, but the American River Routes Festival, because we got boats coming in from all kinds of rivers. The Natchez, the steamboat Natchez is coming up from New Orleans. We have a couple boats coming out of Minneapolis area, St. Paul area. Moline is sending a boat down from the Mississippi, and we have another one up from Pittsburgh that's going to be heading down this way soon. I was trying to track some of those earlier, and at least the steamboat Natchez out of New Orleans is already getting close to Cairo, Illinois. And if you know anything about Cairo, or the Ohio or the Mississippi River, you'll know that that is where the Ohio and the Mississippi rivers meet and become one, down in Cairo, Illinois. So looking at this, I stopped the time lapse here, because obviously that sun is now set. It's gone down below the horizon. But in this particular instance, we have these high, thin clouds, and you can see this little bright spot, little rainbow showing up in those high, thin clouds. There's another one probably off the screen there to the left on the other side of the sun. We call those sun dogs, right? And what they do is those high, thin clouds are little ice crystals, right? They're little hexagonal, that means six-sided ice crystals. They act like a prism, and they help to refract the light, and then that visible light becomes, rainbow colored. And that's what you're seeing outside with some of these sundogs, sometimes these bright spots on the sides of the sun. You can get all kinds, depending on the shape of the ice crystals and the angle of the sun. Sometimes you get some real weird optics. And by weird, I mean really, really cool optics from the sun. A lot of times, though, you don't see that unless you're up in the Arctic, where you get some of those crystals down a little bit lower in the sky. But either way, pretty cool out there. And then the sun has been setting, and now it is gone. A fiery orange sunset happening out there on the Ohio River. So hopefully you got to check that. Hopefully you got to check out some of the nicer weather we've been having. It's going to continue right on through the weekend, but it is going to be warmer this weekend. With the southerly breeze kicking back up, we're going to see these temperatures climbing again. JD, I saw you the first time. Canton, Ohio tomorrow morning. Very similar to what we're seeing here. Mid to upper 50s. So a little crisp, but not bad. Just a few high, thin clouds. That is it. Temperatures outside right now, low to mid 60s. Across much of the Ohio Valley, it's a little warmer there to the southwest, and that is a sign of what is headed our way as early as high school football time tomorrow. So be aware of that. It will be another mild night. Make sure to drink the electrolytes. Get your potassium in. You don't want to be cramping up for week 7. It's week 7, and we are going to be in the mid-80s still. It's really, really warm outside. We are going to see a cool down in the next weekend. It's not going to be, earth-shattering or below normal or anything. But if you like the summer-like heat, enjoy this weekend. Mid-80s, if not upper 80s outside. Nice and summer-like, very little humidity. Next weekend's going to be about 10 degrees cooler, so you can see things are going to start to trend down here pretty quick as we work way through October. Off to the southwest, there's a little trough hanging out over the Ohio Valley, but big area of high pressure will squash any kind of rain chance for us. We're just a little bit too close to that high, so no rain for us. Off of the west, that's another high that's going to be sliding through this weekend, reassuring us that we will have no weather problems for any and all of the outdoor events, of which there are many. A quick check of the tropics. Imelda has fallen apart already as it passed by Bermuda, there where it says St. George on the screen. We have two other potential tropical systems trying to get organized. The first of which I guess I'll point out is the one that's just off the coast here of Florida, and that one near Miami. And while it will likely not become a tropical system, it has just a 10% chance to become a tropical system, the one near Miami there on the left side of the screen. It doesn't have to be tropical or have a name to cause problems. They're going to see some areas that could see over 10 to 12 inches of rainfall in Florida. So not a great system there. Pretty lousy weekend shaping up. I don't know if, what kind of college football we have going on down there in Miami this weekend or the rest of Florida. Or even, college, like I said, what did I say, college football or even professional football. But, bet the over on the rain totals, I think, because that's going to be a mess down there. Another system we'll have to keep a close eye on is still a long ways away. That tropical wave coming off the west coast of Africa has currently 0% chance of development within the next 2 days and a 20% chance there. And this is the one I'm talking about, is this one here. Has a 20% chance the next 5 days to become named. So a low-end threat for now, but, as things shape up, that could certainly change rather quickly this time of the year. So keeping our eyes there on the open Atlantic. Nothing imminent, at least, tropical-wise. But like I said, it doesn't have to have the name to be a problem down in Florida. So watch out if you have any plans that are taking you down that way. It will be a mess outside this weekend. Gusty winds and some heavy rain. Nothing they're not accustomed to. 58 degrees outside tomorrow morning. Not bad. We could see some pesky fog out there, but I think the bigger threat for that is going to come in Saturday morning. And so luckily, a lot of people aren't rolling off to nobody's rolling off to school, hopefully, on a Saturday, unless you were, misbehaving. But no big issues out there, for the commutes, I don't think, because we're not going to see a huge crowd heading around downtown Saturday. I know there will be some people probably getting set up for tailgating for UC's game. They play Iowa State on Saturday, but for the most part, the commute should be relatively light. So expect a few slowdowns out there Saturday. Here's what I'm talking about. The visibility numbers, you can see these will drop a little bit in the day tomorrow. Again, very, very slim chance for some fog, but here comes Saturday morning. You can see how we do see some fog setting up, especially in the river valley. And this is a weather model. It's never great, never 100% correct, but it does sometimes help you to pinpoint where you're expecting some of that fog. And right now, it looks like the best chances are going to be where temperatures will be just a little bit cooler, and that is back here through southeast Indiana, Ohio, Switzerland counties, back over towards Carrollton, Gallatin counties, Carroll and Gallatin counties into Kentucky. But you can see that we have another little splotch that tries to set up over here on the east side of town. And, that just indicates to me those low-lying areas right along the river are probably going to be, getting set up for some fog issues out there early Saturday morning. That lifts in the rest of the weekend. That is the only issue we're going to have here in the near term. Temperatures outside tomorrow, as you can see, southerly breeze starts to kick in. Temperatures already warming back up, mid to upper 80s. That means another hot night. We can't catch a break. By this time, you should be wearing the sweatshirts, the coats outside, not so much. Normal low temperatures this time of the year are 51 degrees. So by high school football time, it should be, upper 50s, low 60s. We're in the upper 70s, low 80s in a few spots out there. This is our game of the week over at the Pit. Two GCL teams, two of the best teams in the state right now. I think Elder's number one in the region. I'm not sure what the statewide ratings are, but I know these two are like number 1 and 2 right now in this area. And 78 degrees for kickoff, 73 by halftime. And since this is a stadium with the east, the field goes north-south over at the Pit, those seats over on the east side, you are going to get blasted with some sunshine early on there because we'll have nothing but clear skies. Same for any other fields out there. Bad for the players if you have one of those east-west fields happening, because right now, how it works this time of the year, we just passed the equinox and our equilux, right, last week. The sun is rising and setting almost due east and due west this time of the year. So when you have a kickoff at 7 o'clock and a sunset at 7, tomorrow it'll be 7:17. You're just going to be, you do not want to be taking the kick on the east side of the field tomorrow. So you want to win the coin toss. And if you do win the coin toss, be smart about it and pick that, because that first quarter could be a wreck, at least, for the first couple of minutes, because it's going to be very, very bright. That's all I have in terms of football tips for tomorrow. Football Saturday. How about this? Bearcats back in town. They're taking on Iowa State, little Big 12 matchup. The Cyclones, a big weather team for us. Always love the weather mascots. The Cyclones, not the Cincy Cyclones, but the Iowa State Cyclones are in town, and it looks like just about a perfect day. It could be a little cooler. I think the next UC game, which I did look up, it's UCF, Central Florida. They're coming to town next Saturday. It's going to be a little cooler for that. And I know Betty's on here. Betty usually is on here. Waiting to see Betty ask about next Saturday, because Betty, good news, it looks great next Saturday. You picked a winner. Saturday at noon at Nippert Stadium. Iowa State coming to town. No weather woes for that. How about Sunday? We have the Bengals back in town. They start at 4:25 against the Lions. That'll be about the same time we see our high temperature, and that'll be about 84 degrees. This is also happening on the other side of the river. It's just a busy weekend. We have Donna Schwabin's Oktoberfest. We also have Rocktober happening over in Harrison. We got a lot of stuff going on. It's just that time of the year. There's always some kind of outdoor plans. Hopefully you get to get out and enjoy it. There's also the, what is it, the Cryptoids? What is going on over in Covington? They have something shut down. They have one of the roads. I think it's Pike Street near Braxton on the other side of the point, right, if you know what I'm talking about, over in Covington. From Madison to almost up to Golden Gelato. But they have like a Cryptoid or something festival going on. A lot of people make these giant papier-mâché masks, and they walk around. So it's things like the Loveland Frogman and Sasquatch and everything. People make papier-mâché models of that, and then they wear it around. I don't know what's going on with that festival. I don't honestly have a clue, but it sounds like fun. So I might swing by that. Sunday, Mammoth Music and Arts Festival. This is not in Covington. This is in Newport, around 6th Street and Monmouth. somewhere in that area. But they got 3 stages set up. They got the road shut down, and it looks like a fun time. This is a free concert, by the way. Not just one concert. There's several, like a lot of musical acts happening out there on Sunday. Noon to 8 is the official time, but I think there are some of the concerts after that at like 11, as late as 11:15 as they wrap up Sunday night. So great thing and great weather for it. So if you're heading to that, free is always good. We always like the free stuff around here. Weather timeline. This buzzes right through Friday, heads into Saturday. You can see this is some of that pesky fog this particular model tries to pick up on, developing here off to the southwest of downtown and along the river valley. So, don't be surprised if you see some of that sneaking over towards Lunken. That could be an issue outside early Saturday. The rest of the weekend looks great. I mean, I don't know how I feel sometimes because, this is really... There's not a lot to talk about except for the numerous events, but at that point I become more of an event planner and less meteorologist. Off to the west is that next storm system, though, and this does arrive as early in a few spots as Monday, better rain chances Tuesday. Before Jeff asks, no, it will not snow. I know you can see back there in the background some snow back there. That's in the mountains. That will not arrive here. Aurora Farmers Fair is also going on this weekend. See, I knew it. There's so many things, Darla. Sometimes I just lose track of what's going on. I wonder if it's too late for me to drive our storm chasing vehicle out there. It probably is. It's probably too late to sign up at this point, but I don't know. Somebody has any hand in the Aurora Farmers Fair, let me know. What am I going to do? I don't have any weekend plans. I might drive over there, check it out. Aurora. All right, that's happening Saturday. I did a little marching band in high school because, weather wasn't nerdy enough for me, so I had to do the band stuff too. And the band kids are cool, and we did the Farmers Fair all the time, and it was always terrifying walking across that the bridge with the graded, the grate instead of like normal solid ground. And if you'd march over that, you would be very careful with your mouthpiece so it would not fall into the, Lawry Creek over there. You did not want that to happen. So that was always terrifying. Other than that, great parade. And usually a great time of the year, but they'll still be wearing shorts out there. I remember we looked forward to that parade a lot because it was always cool. Because the first couple of high school, football games, it was always really hot. And you were tired because the uniforms were really, really hot. And you always look forward to the nice, crisp Saturday morning down in the Aurora Farmers Fair parade out in southeast Indiana. And it's not going to be cool at all this weekend. It might drop down briefly for the morning into the 50s, so that, it might be okay. But the later that parade goes on, it's going to get warm quick, mid-80s to upper 80s Saturday afternoon. Here we go. Back to weather. A little reminiscing there. Do I know how many people are watching on the streaming? Honestly, I have no idea how many people are watching on those. I'm sure somebody knows those numbers. It's not me. I am not. I know there's a few on Facebook, and I know how many people are watching on YouTube at any given time, and then it gives me kind of an idea of how many have watched altogether. And usually that number is directly related to how bad or how good the weather is, and if it's bad weather, then usually that number is significantly higher. Right now, there are not that many people because it is very boring outside. Now you're just hearing me ramble about high school marching band and all the events going on. Sam here talking about cutting half of their backyard because it was so dry. Cut the front lawn and dry big time. Yeah, we do need the rain. I have not cut my grass. How long has it been? A couple weeks? Couple weeks, and there's only a few spots where it's just like, okay, it's starting to look a little rough. But yeah, you're not even cutting grass. You're just cutting the dirt outside. It's not a lot of rainfall. We need some rain. This is not, unfortunately, going to be a big weather system for us. The trend is back down again today. We'll see what happens. Again, it keeps dancing back and forth between slightly higher amounts Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and lower amounts, and we're back to kind of the less than 1 inch just about everywhere amounts. So let me see here. We buzz forward. Monday, slim chance for showers. Tuesday morning, at least for right now, looks okay. But the later we get in the day Tuesday, the better the storm chances get. And that could actually work against us a little bit. This is a cold front coming through. It is smashing into very warm air. There's not a ton of moisture in the air, but just depending on what happens with this, we'll have to keep an eye on Tuesday afternoon. But there is a chance we could see a few strong storms with this before it pushes out. But in terms of total rainfall, that exits early Wednesday morning. And by the time it's all said and done, just not a bunch out there. The rest of your Wednesday and Thursday, it will feel very fall-like Thursday morning. Thursday morning, we're back in the 40s for the first time since I think we hit 49 one time in September. So that's something we're keeping an eye on. So Stephen, I just kind of answered that a little bit, was asking about severe weather on Tuesday. And yes, there's that chance, but right now the chance is pretty slim. So at worst, I would say that the Storm Prediction Center might go with a marginal for Tuesday. But you know how it is around here. And if you ever really kind of follow weather around here, it seems like more often than not, at least every time I try to talk about it, like we'll have a big, well-advertised severe weather event, like, hey, it's going to be a severe weather outbreak. And yeah, sometimes we see some stronger storms that day. But it's these marginal risks that sneak up on you a lot of times. You let your guard down, you're not paying much attention. We don't, really push it that hard. And then what was it? Last week we had or 2 weeks ago, we had a tornado on a Monday. Well, this past week, so it was the week before, but we had that tornado on Monday down in Bracken County. So we'll see. I'm not expecting any big severe weather, but can't rule out some gusty winds as this front pulls on through. I already have earmarked here on my trusty forecast sheet, breezy for next Wednesday. So, we will see rain. It will not be, probably that as much as we need, unfortunately. The dark green shaded area, which is the vast majority of the tri-state there, that is under a ½ inch, and a lot of those amounts are probably under a ¼ inch. And some of the bright splotches, again, don't take this with a grain of salt. That's not exactly where we're going to see the highest amounts. This can give us kind of an idea sometimes of location and totals, but we'll have a few areas here in the tri-state, just depending on where those more intense storms go through, where we could see up to an inch. But it's not looking great. Thank you, Ricky. Appreciate that. Ready for fall weather. Well, here it comes. You chimed in just on time. It's going to be a very summer-like weekend. Look, if you like the summer-like weather, this is your weekend. The later we get in the month, and you can already see by the end of this 10-day forecast, look at the top right here. I have on there your normal temperatures that start at the beginning of the graph and the temperatures by the end. So here, Friday, it should be 73 degrees. That's the normal high temperature. By the time we hit Sunday of next weekend, we should sit about 69 for the high. So we only have one day there that we're below normal, and that's Thursday of next week. But by the time we hit the end of October, 60 is the normal high temperature. So it's a quick turnaround through the month of October with the normals, right? It's that time of the year we start to dive off quick. So if you like the 80s, with 60 being the normal, how often do you hear me go up there and say, oh, we're going to see temperatures running about 20 degrees above normal? It doesn't happen that much. So if you really like the 80s, this might be some of the last of it for the year. It's already late in the season. These temperatures are already 10 to 15 degrees above normal. And so I don't know how much more we see of that the rest of this year. Now, with that said, fast forward to the next graphic, and you'll see that, we typically don't see, 80s by the end of October. It's not impossible. And this just runs through the middle of October, and we are still set to see much of the country here above normal temperatures, including the Ohio Valley. So not out of the question, but if you like the 80s, enjoy them, because I can't guarantee we get back to them. This looked a little better yesterday. I don't love how it changed for today, but this is the 10th through the 16th, 8 to 14-day precip outlook, and the above normal stuff has now exited the tri-state and has relocated itself back in the Mountain West. So with that said, long-term, I've been looking at some of the global models long-term, and, those are never great. That's why you never trust on Facebook the people that post the snow forecast for like 3 weeks out. It just doesn't pan out, right? It's like the butterfly effect. The further out you get with the forecast, the less accurate it is. And if you have somebody posting a snow forecast, like even within 7 days out, it's probably not right. They just want to hype it up and get you to click on stuff. With that, grain of salt. The long term looks to be a little bit busier, right, than what we've been seeing, which has been a lot of dry weather. It's been pretty awful outside for those that need the rain. But things do look to pick up a little bit once we get past this 10-day forecast. We'll see how that pans out. It's one of those situations where, I don't know, at this point, as a meteorologist, I'm just hoping for that. A little wish casting, perhaps, but we need some rain. This is the only chance there on Tuesday we are going to see for that rainfall to happen. Roller door. There we go. 83 Saturday, 84 Sunday, a really nice summer-like weekend. Not too much humidity, but I'll tell you, if you're up at the 33rd Oktoberfest of the Donna Schwaben Society, you're going to be sweating. You're going to be sweating it out. 82 Monday, 78 on Tuesday, and then a very fall-like. Look at the temperature drop. I mean, that is a big drop. 40s Grab the jackets, grab the sweatshirts there Thursday morning. Nice and comfy afternoon, too. If you like the crisp, that is it. Because we're right back into the mid-70s. Now, it's a big warm-up again in the next weekend, but not as warm as this weekend. In fact, almost exactly 10 degrees cooler both days. So, it is going to be a little bit cooler, a little bit more like fall, and that's kind of a trend we'll probably see here through the rest of the month and on into winter. And Sam has said it. I'm going to go eat dinner. That is what I do at this point of the evening, and it's going to be delicious, I'm sure. I don't even know what I'm going to eat, but we'll eat it, and it'll be great. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of, like I said, the weekend. It looks really nice outside. Just watch out for that pesky fog early Saturday. And don't forget, as always, follow me on the Facebook, the Twitter, and the Instagrams. It's meteorologist Brad Maushart. Just search Maushart or Brad Maushart. It probably will pop up just fine if you don't want to try to spell out meteorologist, which is its own, task. Brad with 3 A's, D Weather on Twitter or X, and then on Instagram. It's usually me just posting memes of the last 24 hours of the Reds playing in the West Coast and how that hurts me. That is on Instagram this weekend. Who knows what you'll see? Maybe you'll see the Cryptids Festival down in Covington. I don't know. It's just a fun thing to follow. More personal things than anything. I hope no tornadoes in October. Me neither. That would make me have to work a lot harder, and who wants to do that? But I would if it happened. All right, that is all I have. Enjoy, and I'll hop back up here to the sunset. It's probably over. I probably talked too long. Yammered on. I bet you it's over. Oh, let me hop up to it anyway, just to see what we got going on. Survey says... Oh, it's still nice. All right, I'll leave you with this. Enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody. We'll see you again tonight at 10 and 11. And then, did I not? I know what I forgot. You know what I forgot? For those who are staying on late, who didn't just click the X button, almost forgot to tell you about this. Did I tell you? I pulled this up. We talked about this earlier. We talked about it. Either way, just one more reminder at 8:08 here, not too far from now, if you don't have the International Space Station app from NASA. Look off to the west. It's going to be tricky with those clouds out there. But this is going to be relatively low on the horizon, too. So if you have a lot of trees off to the west, you're going to have a hard time seeing this. But it's a 5-minute pass. We have high, thin clouds. It's low on the horizon. It's not going to be impossible, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult than the last one. But I just wanted to point that out. I thought I forgot, and then I realized I had already talked about it because we talked about all that stuff. All right, here's the sunset. Enjoy your night. I'm going to be quiet. We'll see you at 10 and 11, and again tomorrow here at 7:15 on the Weather Stream.